Narvik to the Nazis at the end of the war.
It was, of course, the escape route for high-ranking Nazis, and Narvik was a very important base for the German submarines.
What were the submarines doing here?
They tried to transport heavy water out of Norway.
Heavy water is one of the necessary components to making a nuclear weapon.
Oh yes, absolutely. Very much so.
If we're going to find any evidence of heavy water, where should I look?
The best place to look is in this area.
Have we had any potential targets yet?
No, not yet.
What's that right there?
Ah.
That's massive.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
We have a hit. Let's find out what it is. Throughout this investigation, Hitler has always left a trail. What lies beneath us might give us real evidence for the very first time of his plans put into action. This post-war Nazi machine was bigger than anything I could have even imagined.
I see the bottom coming into the view. We can't tell exactly what it is. Backside. We have identified abandoned object. We have eyes on a Nazi U-boat.
The entire Nazi movement is completely and perfectly organized throughout the world. They weren't going to give up. They weren't defeated. They were going to keep going until they got back on top.
Bob Baer, 21-year CIA veteran and one of the most respected minds in the intelligence community, has spent the last 2 years overseeing a global manhunt to uncover the true fate of Adolf Hitler at the end of World War II.
Holy crap, that's a swastika. The biggest criminal in modern history supposedly commits suicide in this bunker, but where is the body? There are no witnesses that saw him dead. We first started this investigation because we have no conclusive proof he died in the bunker.
The body that was wrapped up in that blanket was not him.
That's important. The more we kept digging, we established that he could have made it not only out of Germany, but he could have made it all the way to South America. And beyond that, we established there was a plan to get Hitler and thousands of Nazis to safety.
This is a nasty nest of vipers right in the middle of Europe.
Hitler would have had massive infrastructure, safe houses, money, military compounds, and the support of a massive network of associates. This was not Saddam Hussein hiding in a spider hole. This was a well-organized, well-funded plan, and it was set up years in advance to get Hitler to safety. He has everything that he needs to do, I think, anything that he wants.
And that's scary.
In the last 70 years, no one has ever been this close to discovering the truth about Hitler. What we found is absolutely groundbreaking, but it doesn't tell us exactly what happened to Adolf Hitler. We need to find where he went and exactly how he got there. Now we have to close this case. And to do that, we're going to change our strategy. We're going to do what every intelligence agency does when they want to capture their target. We're going to use a strategy called asset mapping, which means uncovering his support network of close associates. And we are going to simply analyze these links and figure out how they may have helped him get away.
Well, this is what I've done throughout my whole career at the CIA, looking at networks to track down high-value terrorists.
To execute this new approach to the investigation, Neda Bakos, former terrorist targeting officer and an expert in the asset mapping method, joins the team. From 2000 to 2011, Neda was at the heart of the CIA task force responsible for dismantling the Al-Qaeda network and its biggest targets, Osama bin Laden and Abu Musab al-Zarqawi.
To take down a whole network, you work on one detail at a time. one person at a time, one piece of information at a time, that will eventually lead you to your target. You're going to build a picture which represents the network that's around the high-value target.
If you want to hunt for somebody, you go to Neda Bakos. She's one of the best. People put their lives in her hands based on her judgment. To find this guy, we have to understand where he went for help. Even the smallest connection could break this case wide open.
Like Bin Laden, he relied on a courier to keep him alive, keep him safe, and they finally were able to capture him because of the courier.
That's how you find people that don't want to be found. This is the final step in hunting a human being. And that needs to be the next step for this investigation. By taking apart that network, Hitler's got nowhere to hide.
If we're going to map the assets around Hitler, the first step is looking at the family because they're some of the closest people to the target. And that usually gives us new pieces of intelligence that we can then follow.
Well, I think absolutely we should start there.
As Bob and Neda initiate their asset mapping strategy, they are assisted by a first-of-its-kind database that combines powerful network search tools, link analysis software, and over 14,000 recently declassified documents from every major intelligence agency around the world.
So this is Hitler's immediate family. And by the time he is 18, both of his parents pass away. And we can eliminate his half-brother, Alois, because they were estranged and didn't have a relationship. 4 of his siblings died during childhood, so we can eliminate all of them. And what we have left is Adolf and his 2 sisters, Angela and Paula.
The 2 sisters now should be our target. Let's find out what happened to them. Paula and Angela Hitler, April 1945. Look, we got a bunch of hits. Okay, here we go, look. The database has a 91% match for these keywords. U.S. Army, July 12th, 1945. This was an interview with Hitler's sister. My coming to Berchtesgaden was very strange. One morning in the middle of April, a driver entered the house and told me we were supposed to leave in 2 hours. Here's Hitler pulling his 2 sisters out of their homes and moving them to Berchtesgaden. And that's big. Okay, look. Here's Berlin. And we've got Berchtesgaden down here. It's an hour flight, 350 miles south.
He obviously trusts his sisters to be located in this area. So why Berchtesgaden?
You know, what we have to remember is Berchtesgaden is Hitler's home. He felt comfortable there.
Built deep into the mountains of southern Germany, the small town of Berchtesgaden was home to the Führer's Alpine headquarters known as the Berghof. Hitler spent more time at this home than anywhere else during World War II, and from this balcony in 1939, he made the decision to invade Poland, officially commencing the war.
And look at this file. U.S. Army, April 7th, 1945. This is a secret memo from Eisenhower to the High Command, right before the fall of Berlin. Berlin itself is no longer a particularly important objective. We proceed on the general plan of attempting to disrupt any German effort to establish a fortress in the southern mountains. That's Berchtesgaden. This is Eisenhower in his own words. We don't care about Berlin anymore. Rather than going north up to Berlin, he's going 350 miles south to Berchtesgaden.
We're seeing Berchtesgaden coming up several times. I wonder what it is about the region that is so important.
They had to have intelligence that the leadership was going there. For me, it's very simple. The only way Eisenhower would divert his assault on Berlin is if he found a new target. There's something more important in Berchtesgaden than there is in Berlin. It's not an accident they're all going there. The question is it part of a bigger plan? What was happening in Berchtesgaden at the end of the war?
If he's sending his family, it's because he knows it's safe.
Exactly.
U.S. Army Special Forces Tim Kennedy and world-renowned historian James Holland land in Berchtesgaden, Germany.
We know that Adolf Hitler's sisters were sent here, to these mountains. The exact same mountains that Eisenhower was looking for a southern fortress. It is imperative for us to find out if there was a plan in place for Adolf Hitler to come here at the end of the war.
The team begins their investigation into Hitler's potential escape through Berchtesgaden at a lookout point 6,000 feet above the valley floor.
So that down there, Tim, that's Berchtesgaden.
And Hitler's home was in the city?
Well, he wasn't actually in the town at all. He was in a place called the Obersalzberg, which is actually that saddle just down there. That is the Obersalzberg. Hitler's house is right in the center, but today you can't see it because a lot of it has been destroyed. Hitler's here, and suddenly other Nazis start buying houses there as well. And they just colonized this whole area here. You think of Hitler as the king, this is his palace, and this is the palace grounds. That's it.
This investigation has turned towards Hitler's network here. And now we have a Nazi compound in the mountains. It's vital to us to know who is here at the end of the war that might have aided in the escape plans for Adolf Hitler.
Lisa, hello.
Hi.
Tim and James make contact with local expert Lisa Graf-Reimann, who has spent the last 20 years studying the history of the region.
Lisa, right at the very end of the war, Hitler sends his sisters here. Who else was here in the Obersalzberg and Berchtesgaden at that time?
In April of 1945, private secretary of Hitler came to Obersalzberg. Also, Hans Lammers came.
Who was the head of Hitler's cabinet?
Yeah. And also he sent Goering here.
Goering, who was Hitler's number 2.
Yes.
What's interesting about this period, right at the very end of the war, is the Russians are closing in, and some of the key members of Hitler's inner circle are escaping here to Berchtesgaden. It's just incredible.
Not only did Adolf Hitler send his family, but also the upper echelon of the Nazi party was here at the end of the war. I'm convinced that Eisenhower knew something that we don't.
Everybody's heading to Berchtesgaden. It's incredible.
So there's a reason Eisenhower diverted everybody.
Bob and Nada review the findings the team uncovered in southern Germany, where a declassified document claims Berchtesgaden, the resort town where Hitler made his home, may have been the location of a secret Nazi escape plan.
At the end of the war, we can place Lammers and Goering at Berchtesgaden. These guys are key spokes in the wheel.
You're not going to have this kind of gathering of high-ranking officials without a good reason.
This is some sort of secret plan, no doubt about it. Let's see what we can find in the database. Here we go. Reporting agency OSS, predecessor of the CIA, April 26, 1945, Hitler's new hideout. A high Nazi party official in Hitler's immediate entourage have asked him to suggest an inconspicuous place for Hitler in Berchtesgaden. You know, it doesn't get any bigger than this. You've got OSS report essentially putting Hitler in Berchtesgaden. You know, you couple this with Eisenhower taking the whole Allied effort down there and the fact that his whole core leadership are going to Berchtesgaden. This is a huge revelation. I think it was perfectly possible that after his last public appearance, he decides to go to Berchtesgaden.
On April 20th, 1945, Adolf Hitler was last seen in public speaking to the Hitler Youth. Soviet forces stormed the bunker on May 2nd, leaving a 12-day window in which the true location of the Fuhrer remains unknown.
Look, we've spent all this time looking for ways out of the bunker before May 2nd. But maybe he wasn't even there. Maybe we're looking in the wrong place. Maybe he was in Berchtesgaden the whole time. This completely changes this investigation.
The question I have is, would Hitler have done that? As the most wanted man in the world at the time, does it make sense for him to actually leave Berlin and travel down to Berchtesgaden at this point? With everyone looking for him, he wouldn't go someplace unless it was just as safe as the Fuhrer bunker.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, what did he have in place that would allow him to move from the Fuhrer bunker to Berchtesgaden?
I think this is absolutely worth checking out.
Yeah. Tim and James have got to get on this.
This hill used to be the main entrance
To Hitler's driveway.
Yep.
Deep in the Alpine region of southern Germany, Tim and James investigate the site of Hitler's former mountain retreat, located in the center of the Obersalzberg compound.
If you're bringing Adolf Hitler here at the end of the war, he needs to know that he's safe. We need to dig into this area to see if it could have provided enough security for Adolf Hitler to relocate from Berlin. We're actually walking where Hitler walked, countless times.
Yeah. It's just amazing. This is the Berghof. You can see it's in a pretty bad state.
Yeah. What happened here?
The German government blew it up in 1952. And what they did was they destroyed it, bulldozed it, and then covered it with rubble and soil and planted trees. And this is really the only major bit that still remains, the kind of retaining wall behind the Berghof. That's what it originally looked like. You're starting to get a scale of it. This was no small house.
Do you have any idea what kind of security measures he had in place here to protect him?
Well, I know the entire area was cordoned off, but what there was around here, I'm not sure.
He's never going to leave the Fuhrer bunker in Berlin if he's vulnerable and exposed. There has to be more here, a bunker or a tunnel complex.
Yeah, I agree. The Fuhrer bunker in Berlin is a bomb-proof shelter. That is serious amount of concrete. Hitler was obsessed with security. If Hitler is going to leave Berlin, he would need something that's better than what they already have.
We need to find the things that would have protected him.
Let's look at this, Tim. It's just stones, bricks. Hang on. What do you think this could be?
There's these little pipes, these holes, 3 of them.
So you think this is some kind of drainage or cistern or something?
It could be drainage. They also might be running lines through there.
Communication lines, wires and things.
Or just power.
Right.
I mean, they're pointing this direction, like this.
So keep going this way.
Yeah. And we have to be getting close to something.
Well, look, it looks like there's some earth has been moved. There's a big chunk taken out of the side. Hey, hang on a minute. Look at this. Concrete. Look at that.
Holy.
300 yards from Hitler's former home, the team locates a reinforced steel door built into the side of the hill.
This has the exact same massive concrete protection as you see in the bunkers in Berlin.
Oh,
that's hollow.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Knocking on that door, you have that hollow, echoing sound that you get from inside of a cave. It sounded like it went forever. We have a huge steel door blocking us from getting access to a massive, major empty tunnel. But I can guarantee you that it's not just a wine cellar or a storage room. We have to know what's behind that door.
Underneath Hitler's house, look at this door. I mean, look at the walls.
Bob and Nada review the findings from Hitler's home in the mountains of Berchtesgaden, southern Germany, where a declassified document could point to Hitler hiding out at the end of the war, during the time period when he was believed to be in Berlin.
Does this door lead to a bunker like the one he had in Berlin?
We got to figure out how to get in there.
Yeah.
While the team works their contacts to gain access to what lies behind the door, Bob and Nada uncover intel that could open a new front in their investigation.
Bob, you got to take a look at this file. So this is from OSS, June 12th, 1945. Look at this line. At this time, the decision had been taken to divide the ministries in two parts and establish one government in the north and one in the south.
What this file tells me is they're splitting up, creating multiple escape routes. I mean, this is textbook redundancy. The north gets cut off, you head south. South gets cut off, you head north.
That's one of the best survival skills that networks build, is to give themselves more than one escape route.
He could have gone north or he could have gone south. If we're to find out which path he took, we need to look at both routes. The south has got to be Birch's Garden.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess the bigger question is,
Who went north?
who went north?
Yeah.
Because if we want to find out more about this escape route, we need to find out who's running it. Who would have enough familiarity with the north that would be able to facilitate this route?
Well, one of his close associates, the head of the SS, Himmler, was caught in the north, trying to escape. Himmler is the guy we want to start with.
Heinrich Himmler was one of the most powerful figures in the Third Reich and directly responsible for Hitler's personal safety. Himmler fled Berlin at the end of the war and was captured in Bremervorde in northern Germany on May 22nd, 3 weeks after Hitler was believed dead.
Here we go. MI6, October 22nd, 1945. The SS unit, about 30 men, withdrew to the Hohenlohen area. I found out immediately that Himmler's headquarters were located there. Hohenlohen is Himmler's headquarters.
Let's pull up a map and find out where it's located.
Let's take a look. You've got Berlin here, Hohenlohen here. Himmler goes to Hohenlohen. It's only 65 miles. All the pieces are coming together. We have a northern escape route, and now we have a report saying that Himmler has his headquarters near Hohenlohen.
But did Hohenlohen have the infrastructure that would have facilitated an escape route to the north?
Exactly, that's the question. I think this warrants splitting the investigation. We should get a second team on the ground, send them north. What did they have in Hohenlohen that would have helped Himmler and Hitler get away?
Possible northern route of Hitler?
It depends on how big an SS operation is here.
Lanny DePaul, former commander of the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, and investigative journalist Gerard Williams arrive at the location of Heinrich Himmler's former headquarters in search of infrastructure that could have supported a secret northern escape route set up for Adolf Hitler after the war.
That's some pretty big structures there.
There were two possible escape plans to get the Fuhrer and his most trusted people out of Berlin before the Soviets took it. Did Hitler come through here? I don't know, but we're going to find out. This is the size of a small town.
There are several structures on the property. I want to go through every inch of this place to see what we can uncover. What do you think went on here?
I don't know.
They begin their investigation of the 26-acre compound at a large two-story building.
Let's see if we can get in this place. Watch your step.
God, this is huge.
Look at this hallway. There's rooms upon rooms upon rooms. To me, this is what a barracks would look like. You could have had thousands of Nazi soldiers here, easy. If you needed that type of protection, you definitely had accommodations for all of them.
I mean, you just put so many people here. It'd be a hell of a bombing opportunity. But you see, most Nazi-era buildings are not left like this. They were either demolished or repurposed.
Why would they not target this place? Why wasn't this place bombed?
If you'd go anywhere that was Nazi important in 1946, there'd be bomb craters everywhere. You look at the pictures of Berlin, and that's after the Allies bombed it, and then the Soviets shelled it. But here, there's nothing. There's not even a bomb crater. And I have no idea why.
The team continues their investigation of the compound, exploring a structure 200 yards to the east.
Yes. Why do we have tile all the way up to the ceilings? elevated floor. What was on top of these things? Some sort of table. What is this, like an operating room?
I think that's a prep table.
Yeah, right?
And this is an OR.
What is this?
35 millimeter X-ray film.
Look at this. Oh my God, that's a chest cavity.
Yeah. We've been wondering what the hell this is. I can't think it could be anything else but a pretty major hospital complex.
It completely fits.
This whole compound is off limits if it's medical. Under the Geneva Convention, if you painted red crosses on the roofs of these buildings, they were off the bombing list. This was a gentleman's war, and Heinrich Himmler was no damn gentleman.
This is definitely a hospital and a perfect cover to hide some high-value target or somebody trying to get out of Dodge in a hurry.
As part of a northern escape route, it's a great place to come. You're safe here to work out what the next step on the plan is. It was perfect.
This could be part of the northern escape route.
Bob and Nada are overseeing a dual-pronged investigation, following two possible escape routes out of Berlin. One leading toward Hohenlohen in northern Germany, and another going south to Berchtesgaden.
I am very curious about what's behind this door. I mean, what were they using this for?
They focus in on their investigation into the Nazis' southern escape route, where they've uncovered a mysterious door just 300 yards from the location of Hitler's home.
You know who we should get a hold of is Sasha Kyle. Hey, Sasha, it's Bob.
Hello, Bob.
Sasha Kyle is a world-renowned expert on Nazi underground structures.
Hey, Sasha, we found this door near the Berghof, cut in the side of the mountain. What's behind it?
The bunker of Hitler.
That's just amazing. Have you been inside it? Did you see it?
It's not possible. All the entrances were sealed by the federal state government, and they don't want to let anyone in. They don't want to deal with this topic. They want to bury this.
When people are hiding things, it's a red flag for me. There's something behind there, and I want to know what it is. Sasha, is there a way we can find out more about this? Anything to give us a better idea of what this looks like?
I can try to find out.
Thank you.
The German government is denying access, but we're not going to take no for an answer. We're going to find out what's under there, whatever it takes. Did that bunker serve a purpose in protecting Hitler as he was escaping south?
The number of people that have had access into the Obersalzberg compound, are very few. Not too many, no.
Along the southern escape route, Tim and James make contact with historian Florian Beirel, the foremost expert on Nazi infrastructure in Berchtesgaden.
When I was younger, a teenager, we used to go there quite often. We photographed it, we charted maps.
It is absolutely vital for us to have a better understanding what lies beneath the Berghof, and if it could have provided enough security to protect the leader of the Third Reich. If he had escaped out of the bunker in Berlin at the end of the war.
Yeah, this guy here is a real expert. I've worked with him for at least 10 years.
Florian has arranged a meeting with engineer Jürgen Weimar, who has spent the last decade mapping the Obersalzberg compound surrounding Hitler's home.
There is quite a bit of survey data that I collected over the years, and I gave all that to Jürgen. And he now has the computer technology and the programs to put it all together.
Using Jürgen's state-of-the-art architectural software and Florian's exclusive data from the area under Hitler's home, they have created the most extensive and accurate computer model of what the Nazis would have had at their disposal.
So, at the Berghof, we found a massive door that's located directly underneath Hitler's primary residence. I need to know what's behind that door.
Behind that door, you would find a vast labyrinth of underground tunnels.
Really? Yes.
Yeah, this is the whole bunker system.
It's so much bigger than I thought. So the blue is the buildings above ground.
Right.
So there's the Berghof.
Yes.
And this is the system.
It's incredible. Total of 3.5 miles of underground tunnels.
3.5 miles.
Yes. Very extensive. 400 feet of solid rock above you right there.
That's enough to stop a nuclear bomb.
There were 6 different levels.
Golly. This is incredible. This is more than just the basement of Adolf Hitler's home. This is a massive, interconnected tunnel system. This vertical shaft right here, what is all this?
Yet another level. It was intended to build a road underneath the Obersalzberg.
And in case there was a surprise attack,
He could escape through a much lower level. So he could travel down with an elevator, get in the car, and get out of the place.
This tunnel in red, was it built or was it just planned?
No, they haven't finished it.
Got you.
And this is vastly more sophisticated than anything that we have seen. It's more complex. It's more massive than anything in Argentina, in Chile, even in Berlin. This is essentially a Nazi ant-hill.
But as it stands, you can't escape from there, can you?
There's no way. There's a reason why the Taliban have been so successful fighting from the mountains in Afghanistan. You burrow into these mountains, you're there to stay. The Nazis knew that. But Adolf Hitler's not going to come here without an escape route. They have to have a safe way for him to get out. And we have to find it.
The bunker system was extensive, but this escape tunnel was not finished.
He was basically stuck. There was nowhere to go.
Bob and Nada continue their investigation into 2 possible escape routes Hitler may have used to escape Berlin. One leading toward Berchtesgaden in southern Germany, and the other heading to the north, where they are investigating whether a Nazi compound in Hohenlohen could have been part of a secret northern escape route set up for Hitler after the war.
There's 26 acres, and we know of at least 16 buildings so far that they had built for this facility. Some barracks and a hospital. A hospital would be a perfect place for a clandestine operation, similar to what terrorist organizations do now, using civilian neighborhoods to hide in, using U.S. military uniforms to disguise themselves. It's evil but effective. This is from the OSS. In Hohenlohen, Hitler used to visit the SS sanatorium. Local people said Hitler was definitely seen to take a lakeside walk in the same area on 24 April 1945.
This is an eyewitness. People say they saw Hitler at Hohenlohen, and this is 6 days before he supposedly committed suicide in the bunker. He's seen at Hohenlohen.
The problem is, Hitler wouldn't be staying in any of these buildings. He wouldn't be staying with the general population.
So where would he be where there's a good deal of privacy, in fact, total privacy? We got to find some place that Hitler could have put down and felt safe. I'll bet you that there's some sort of building or structure that could have housed him. We need to keep digging.
All right, partner, you ready? Let's do what we do best.
Investigating the northern escape route, Lenny DePaul, Gerard Williams, and their local translator Teresa prepare to make contact with Rosemary Todenhof, a local woman who may have first-hand knowledge of Nazi activity at the Hohenlohen compound.
If Hitler did come here as part of a northern escape route, he would have stayed somewhere secluded and quiet and secure. He'd have stayed somewhere pretty opulent. What we need to do is find out the areas where the high-ranking people stayed. Thank you very much for having us in your house today. Very kind. Could you ask our friend here what are her links to Hohenlohen?
Was verbindet Sie mit Hohenlohen?
Dass mein Vater oben Krankenpfleger war und meine Mutter war Haushälterin.
Her mother worked for a family there in Hohenlohen, Kiesewetter, and he was somebody important, she said.
SS?
SS?
SS? Yeah, okay. Did her mother ever talk about senior members of the Nazi Party coming to visit?
Einmal hat sie gesagt, sie müssen Hitler den Mantel abnehmen.
Hitler came to visit the Kiesewetter family when she was working there, and she had to take off Hitler's coat for him. Yeah, she said he was here more than once, in Hohenischen.
That's interesting.
Was the house in the complex?
This is in Hohenluschen?
Ja.
This place right on the lake. Unbelievable. We didn't see this.
No, I didn't see that one.
Teresa, ask her if where this building or structure is.
It's down the street toward the water on the right side.
She's telling me it's on the property. We've never seen it. We got to find this place.
We have eyewitnesses to Hitler walking around this lake on the 24th. And now there in the pictures is a building that looks like a large villa that was on the lake. It's just incredible. It all seems to be coming together. I'd like to go have a look at that house.
And here we are, just down there.
Along the southern escape route in Berchtesgaden, Germany, Tim Kennedy and James Holland head to the location of a former Nazi office building in the area of Hitler's home that James uncovered while researching Nazi-era infrastructure at the local archives to see if it could have been used to support the escape of Adolf Hitler after the war.
If Adolf Hitler was considering moving to Berchtesgaden from Berlin, he would have to have a safe way to get out. We need to find evidence that they had an escape route already in place, ready to go.
Nick,
Hey,
Their local contact, Nick Conrad, has gotten permission from the owner to let the team investigate the building for a possible escape route.
We need to know exactly what it was.
we're going to meet Mr. Herzl, the owner. Okay. Perhaps he can help us with that.
good. Tim, look at that. There is still the remains of a Nazi eagle over the front entrance porch. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible.
Hallo, Herr Herzl. Grüß Gott. Grüß Gott.
Thanks for letting us come. Oh, wow, look at this. This is absolutely amazing.
All original.
Well, what did they use this room for?
For reception of foreign diplomats and leaders.
So this building is massively important. Is there a basement or is there anything that would protect people?
There is a big shelter underneath.
Oh, really?
Can we see that? Können wir schauen? We'll follow you.
Yeah, please.
That's incredible, isn't it? And we're going down and down. After about 10 minutes and you're still descending, you're suddenly thinking, hang on a minute, this is not just a small little air raid shelter, this is a really serious tunnel.
What does this remind you of? It's identical to the piping system that they had at the Berghof. This is communication and power. The same type of communications they had at the Berghof, that Obersalzberg, they have here. It's all connected.
Oh, okay, so this is a series of rooms, isn't it?
So it's not just a tunnel. There's chambers down here as well.
This is Hitler.
Hitler's room 2.
It's incredible.
We are literally standing where he would have stood.
200 feet below this Nazi-era government building, the team has uncovered a massive multi-chambered bunker system leading to the personal quarters of Adolf Hitler.
I mean, it's frightening. We are in the room that was built to protect and hide Adolf Hitler after the war. We're thinking about he's leaving Berlin. He's going to come down here, and this gives you everything you need to be safe.
Yep.
To be hidden, to be secure. But where can he go from here?
Well, this has got to have an exit point, right?
Yeah, but where?
The team works their way through the tunnel beyond Hitler's personal bunker.
What was that used for right there?
So it's an emergency exit?
Oh my God. This is amazing.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's wooded, it's hidden.
And look at that.
A rail line immediately outside of the tunnel. So you walk out of the tunnel.
No one can see you.
Train tracks are right there. Has this railroad always been here? Kidding me. If Adolf Hitler walks out of that tunnel and he gets on a train, where's the next stop?
This season on Hunting Hitler.
Can you see anything, mate?
Gerard, you're not gonna believe what I just found.
If Hitler escaped, he did not do it by himself. He used a trusted network.
We know that the Nazis were in South America, but this is at a level that I've never seen before.
If we're going to finally track Hitler down, we need to deconstruct this network piece by piece.
This goes much deeper than I realized.
Until we get to the bottom of it.
3, 2, 1, drop.
This is everything we've been working towards.
What we've stumbled upon is the most powerful weapon the Nazis had in their arsenal.
We are throwing everything we can at this case.
Oh my God.
Holy. To find out what happened to Adolf Hitler once and for all.
Adolf Hitler could come here and know that he was safe.
That's it. That's gotta be it. Put us down right there.
We cannot stop until we find the truth.
This is the last piece of the puzzle, eh?
This is it right here.